on the street chasing wrong from right. Eyes like fire burning through the haze. Truth is a weapon, cuts through the maze. Some call her trouble, some call her brave. Digging up secrets they tried to save. A real deal around town. She's breaking it down, spinning the wheel, exposing the sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her cry. They curse her name, afraid of the spotlight she brings to the game. But the grateful ones, they cheer in the dark for the spark she ignites in their weary hearts. Some call her danger, some call her hope. She's the thin line on the tightrope. The sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The truth's her crown, yeah.
Hey, that's over. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Okay, never mind. We're here. The select board meeting is going to be starting at 4 o'clock. I think yesterday I wasn't sure, thought it might be 4:30, but it's actually going to be 4 o'clock. So I wanted to get with you guys before 4 and go over what's going on. First, I want to, let's see, I'm going to bring up the agenda. Well, let me just get into the whole purpose. First of all, I'm live streaming all the board meetings that I can from now on, since I know how to do it now. And it took me a year and a half to figure it out, but it's really easy. So I'm going to be live streaming everything. And today's the Board of Selectmen meeting, or Select Board meeting. And they're going to be going into executive session during this meeting. I think it's at the end. Hopefully they won't put us on pause for an hour and a half, but sometime after 5 or thereabouts, they're going into executive session to discuss the lawsuit that RFS filed against us based on the ethics complaints on David Vajant and Gary Shepard. And this meeting had not been scheduled. They did schedule it legally. They got it scheduled within the 48-hour limit, so there's no open meeting law violation here. Not yet. There's time. There's time. But they haven't violated the open meeting law in this posting, but they got it in. I have to, let me see. Let me look at it. What time did they post this? Oh, 11:34 on the 21st. So no problem. They had a few hours leeway to get it in. Wait a minute. Let me look at the calendars to be safe, so that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they posted it on Friday. The 21st was Friday, and they posted it before lunch, so that's not bad. It wasn't a last minute deal. Although, if I'm not mistaken, does the town clerk's office close at noon on Friday? I don't know. I may be wrong. I don't know. I could look that up later. But they did get it in, but they had been talking earlier in the week at their previous meeting that their next meeting was going to be December 2nd. So this came up all of a sudden. So I wanted to chat about some of the reasons why I think that is. If you're following the saga of David Vigent and Gary Shepard's ethics problems, then you know, or follow my channel every day, then you know that ethics put out their order to show cause against Gary Shepard. I went over that last week, and it's damning. It is, wow, are you kidding me? And I also did a few days before that, or I don't know, maybe I don't remember what day that was. The motion for summary judgment that had been filed on against David. Both of them are quite damning. That first, David confesses to violating ethics during their interviews, and Gary, they want more than $5 million out of Gary. That's what they're asking for in their filings. So, and David's 15 to 20,000 for the fine, and they want over $5 million from Gary. And I'm not kidding. And they aren't either. They are not playing around with these. But these just came out within the last week or so. The show cause was new. The motion had been filed a couple months ago, but I just got my hands on it and went, whoa, I didn't know this. And clearly what we can see is over the summer that ethics has been working very hard. I want to watch the time. What time is it? Where's my clock? There it is. Okay. Ethics has been working diligently, very hard at getting Gary's case put together, because his is huge. His is much larger because it involves not just the water treatment facility, but also they're going after him for the Greenville Road Bridge. And both of them. That's why their claim against Gary, they want over $5 million in fines or in cost. They want everything the value of all the contracts they want him to pay. I don't think they'll ever get that much, even if this goes to court, or they might get more. It depends. They could get more, actually. Looking at the law that they're claiming, they could get more, but I think, I don't know, just thinking business expenses, that, when you will remove a lot of costs, I don't know if they can get gross. The gross on these projects came to 5.4 million, but that's not Gary's net. Even though he makes a lot of money off these things, there's a lot of cost associated. There's other people involved with doing this, and the use of a lot of equipment, and in payroll and things that Gary doesn't have that money anymore. And I can't, without seeing his taxes, I can't tell you how much he actually made. And if he does his taxes like everybody, I'm not going to go there. But there's probably, lots of expenses involved. So I don't see Gary. I don't know. I don't know how these things actually go. I don't know if the state can even get away with demanding he pay the total contract amount, or if it would be the net. So I don't know. We'll have to see, because I'm sure he's going to fight this pretty strongly. And of course, then there's damages. So part of the ethics thing is damages. So there's damages to others. So there's damages to the other contractors, I think. I'm not sure. Oh, I wanted to add, I got to put my logo. I'm really messing up. And of course, it's Thanksgiving, so I got to put a turkey in there. So anyway, what is this? Some kind of crazy notification. All right. I'm getting Black Friday's coming. Everybody wants to sell you everything. Oh, I've already got everything I need. Thank you. But anyway, so I don't know what what they're going to end up with Gary. But I think they're both done. I think they're both screwed because of just what was in the documents, the evidence that's presented in the show cause for Gary, and the motion for summary judgment. David confesses at least twice in the interviews that they did with him, and they quoted in the summary judgment claim. I don't know why he's not. Of course, I don't know. He's got a lawyer now, so maybe there will be a settlement at some point with him. They're scheduled. Oh no, I don't remember. What are they scheduled for? I'll have to look it back up. But they're scheduled in January, and then they have a hearing in February. We do not have a date on Gary yet. They will have a pre-hearing conference, probably, I don't know, January. I think January, February at the latest. It seems to me that the state they were pretty smart. I think they let David's case out of the bag early, which was last June when I first reported on it. And they got that going, and all summer, nothing on Gary. And it's like, I really believed the rumor that I unfortunately passed on, that Gary had settled, which was completely wrong. That they had been speaking to him since 2022. And he's just not followed the law since then. They have been talking to him, and he's just refused, according to the filings, refused to participate. And now, and I if I'm looking at this and going, ooh, all this time, all summer, we've all been chit-chatting. Our town officials have been chit-chatting on the internet, on Facebook, during board meetings, and I've gone and made my comments, and people have just been running their mouths. I said that. I've said that repeatedly in a number of videos, that they're all running their mouth. Shut up, because everything's going to be used against you. I said it before the lawsuit was filed, and I'm still saying it. Shut up. And they didn't. So still, all of this is going to be used against Gary. And I think that was part of their plan. I'm sure they had the case wrapped up when they filed against David. And by hesitating on Gary, that opened up the whole can of worms and got little old Townsend running their mouth. And it just gave them more. And that really gave more to RFS for their lawsuit, because believe me, I keep telling everybody, if you've been on the Board of Selectmen since this started in 22, if you've been on the Board of Water Commissioners since 22, if you've been, if you've been the town administrator, if you've been, and we've gone through a few of them, all of these people are going to be deposed for the RFS lawsuit. And you're going to have to, you can't lie. You've been involved with making these things happen. And you know it, I know it. Some of it's been in public meetings, the select board meetings going back a few years. They have no problem talking in public on these meetings about what they were scheming. And I'm telling you, and so here we come to today. What time is it? Okay, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to try to talk and chew gum at the same time. I haven't brought up the Zoom meeting yet, so I'm going to do that. So if you can bear with me. But I believe my reasoning today is that the reason that they've scheduled this meeting is that sometimes lawyers do smart things. Not always. Sometimes. I got to take that down. That I think somebody spoke to a lawyer, whoever's representing us in this case, about, well, probably town councils. I don't know if town council's still involved, or we're using liability counsel. I don't know. But I'm sure Nelson, as soon as this new thing on Gary dropped, Nelson contacted our town council and that precipitated this meeting, because I don't think anything new has happened in the actual lawsuit. I think this Gary thing has dropped, and now they want to talk to Adam about the impact. I think that's on the lawsuit. Not only the impact of Gary's order to show cause, but I think that the impact of both of these now, what has been released, because I don't know that the select board had even the motion on David, the motion for summary judgment. I don't think that they knew that that existed until I put it on my video, and I really don't. And I mean, Adam, our town council, knew, but I don't think the select board did. And then when the Gary thing dropped, hit the newspapers before I knew about it. That's how I found out about it. And then all the revelations in the show cause, I think, might have changed their tune on how they want to proceed in the lawsuit. And so I think, some people have mentioned to me, well, that would be a violation of open meeting law if they brought up the other stuff as part of under the guise of the lawsuit. No, because it all has an impact on the lawsuit. So don't anybody file open meeting law complaints, because you have no idea what they're going to talk about, and neither do I. We don't know. I'm making an assumption here. And because of everything that dropped last week, they're going to be discussing that tonight. And we're not going to be privy to it. We won't. And that's it. So, but what I'm going to get, where am I? I got to get, I got to go get the Zoom meeting started. Hang in there. In fact, what I'm going to do first. Do I have time? I can't do both. I'm not going to, I've got the agenda ready to go to show you, but I really don't have time. Do I? No. You can go on the Townsend website and look up the agenda. It's there. You can do that. I was going to show it to you, but I can't have both on the screen. So I'm going to work on the Zoom meeting. Oh, come on. Is this where it is? Oh, yeah. I'm going to get that out of there. Let me get in the Zoom meeting. Let's see. I'm still here. I'm typing. I can't talk and enter these numbers at the same time. Stop video, mute. Passcode, where are you? 013. I'm not going to leave that screen until I know that they've completely let me in. The host is joined. All right. I'm going to shrink this for myself so I can see. The host isn't paying attention or doesn't want to let me in yet. We shall see. So it is, we got about 11 minutes before their meeting starts. I think what I'll do, I'm not going to put it, because of technical difficulties, I can, but I'm not. I don't want to, I don't have the Zoom up. Wait a minute. I know what I'm going to do. Hold on. All these technical difficulties that I don't need to have. That is not it. Okay. You're seeing what I'm seeing, but I'm going to get them out of there so that you don't have to be distracted by that. I'll be distracted by it for you. So I'm going to, while we're waiting, though I can't, I'll try to see what's going on. I should hear noise when they come into the room. I'm going to go over, even though I'm not going to show it to you, I'm going to go over their agenda. I want to look at my face one more time. Everything looks good. Zoom is ready to go. All right. I don't want anything to go south while I'm doing this. Okay, they do have a loaded agenda. They decided to pile everything on, or maybe they just didn't have time to make edits. But they've got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm surprised because they weren't planning this meeting. Or they were and they just were keeping it from us. They're going to go over some new policy, a new policy. First reading of the alcoholic beverage licensing policy. That came from Kim Craven back over the summer. Put on some kind of function. I can't remember what it was. Something. I don't know. But she wanted to serve alcoholic beverages on the common. I think she did. I mean, they approved it. I think that they were running into policy questions. And I think I might be wrong about the source of this policy, but I think they're making changes to make it harder to get an alcoholic beverage license in public property. I think that's the issue. So I don't know, but we shall find out. Then they're doing, what do we got? Do I have, I think, hold on, I just want to look. Am I in? I'm in. Okay, so at least we know I'm in. Let me, now I'm confused. Where was I? Oh, I was here on the agenda. Okay, I got too many things going. I can't handle all this stuff. Anyway, then we're going to do a second reading of the use of town council policy. So of course, the town council is now costing them money, and they still don't have any problem spending it. But they want to they've changed the town council policy, and they want to make it harder, or they just want to have the use not be so expensive. Then they're going to go over, this should be interesting, select board and town administrator goals for 2026. I hope first on the list is to learn about municipal finance for both of them. Okay, then we're going to get into town administrator updates and reports. They now put more under this on the agenda because I filed an open meeting law complaint a while back on this. There was not enough stuff on the agenda, so they've incorporated a lot more to let us know in advance what the town administrator is going to talk to us about. So here we are. These are some of the things they're going to talk about. Townsend's 2025 Annual Sustainable Materials Recovery Program, SMRP grant. I want to hear about that. I think that has to do with recycling. And yes, recycling, etc. I'm going to say etc. Police union negotiations update. Oh, I want to hear about that too. Report on DPW creation. Now, this is an interesting one. I believe last Nelson said is he's not in favor of this anymore because he read the report that was made about a decade ago that it just not really feasible. In a town of our size, it will increase our costs and not reduce them. And that is true. I don't remember if I was on the board then or right after. I think maybe right after or something in there. It was right in that window that they came up with this. I might have been on the board, and I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But we had a separate committee that was appointed to handle that, and they came out of it saying, not no, but hell no. And I think I have to agree with Nelson on this. And Nelson's previous employment was as an assistant director of a DPW, so I'm going to go with Nelson on this. Then we're going to go to 5-year preliminary financial forecast, which, yay, finally somebody is going to make an attempt at this since they've been very resistant. And this is basic. If you can't do a 5-year forecast, get out of the kitchen. And so they need to start figuring out how to do that. It's just mind-boggling that they have not been doing this. Fire EMS regionalization. I don't know how the fire chief feels about this, and quite frankly, I don't care. But Nelson, I believe, this might be one, I don't know whose idea this was, but I know Nelson was talking this up, the possibility of combining some services within the fire EMS and some of the other towns. We already do some. We do a lot of mutual aid at our expense. So this needs to be looked at. If nothing else, not necessarily, don't take this literally on this item, because it's not simply, oh, we're going to have one fire station and covering 3 towns. That's not what it means. But we already do, and this has been an issue for 20 years or more on EMS side, because we have been the chief provider of mutual aid services, particularly on advanced life support, since 19 something, the mid-90s. So, and this is just crazy. We need to get out of that. And all the towns are just sucking it up and at our expense. And that really needs to be, something needs to be done. Monthly school budget meetings, that needs to be updated. Maybe they'll talk about the forum that happened, that I did a video on. Then we're going to have an update on the animal inspector vacancy and nomination. Someone has applied for the animal inspector job. So they didn't put their name up for an appointment, so I don't know what happening here. They may be asking for more money, probably. Everybody needs more money. Are you kidding me? So we'll see what Nelson has to tell us, and then we'll get an update on the Comcast contract renewal. I don't know what's holding that up. Then we have the Townsend Facebook page. They can't figure out Facebook. I suggested to them that this is a must do. A Townsend Facebook page. They're taking me up on that order that I have provided them. But they're just trying to figure out how to make it happen. And this why it requires such high level nonsense is beyond me. It's really easy. You put up a Facebook page, you post official notices on it. You do not allow comments. Whoever's running the page needs to manage it properly. It doesn't take much. Almost everybody is on Facebook in some capacity. I can't believe there isn't anybody in the select board office that can't figure this out. It should be done, and it's not, and it's disturbing. Anyway, report from board liaisons. So they're going to talk about stuff going on. Library Council on Aging is on here, and North Middlesex School District updates. Almost anybody could really add. They can add things to this. This is, as long as there's no voting, or discussion, it's fine. 6.3 is announcement, communications, volunteer response forum. They're going to talk about new positions, or no, not new positions, updated vacancies for the boards and commissions. So I believe that they'll just go through it like they always do, depending on how much time they have. Because, let's see, their meeting is starting at 4. They've got the executive session at 5:30.
Gotta turn the mic on.
Uh-oh, time to go.
This is how it came on my print.
Oh, no. Why isn't those documents opening up?
Yeah, it's in your original packet that I just gave you.
You gave me this.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it takes a
go
minute
ahead.
to get
Oh,
the network
alcohol
here.
and then, legal, right?
The
Yes,
network.
Okay.
Yeah, that is
All right, we're at 4 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, hold on, G-Cam, can you start recording, please?
This meeting is being recorded.
Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Shippen, and I will call the meeting of the Select Board to order on November 25th, 2025 at 4 p.m. Roll call, please.
Veronica Cal present. Sally Goodrich present.
Laura Schiffern present. Would you please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank all of our veterans, as well as those serving today here and abroad, as well as all of our emergency response individuals, our elected and appointed officials, as well as our staff and all employees of all the departments, as well as their families, for contributing to the community we live in. This meeting is being recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Is anyone else recording?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Cindy. No, it's all right. 1.4, I do not have any additions or deletions to the agenda. 1.5, review and approve the meeting minutes of November 19th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move that we review and approve the meeting minutes for 11/19/2025. Veronica Cal second.
Did you say who you were?
Sorry.
I just want to be sure.
I, Valerie Goodrich, move that we review and approve the meeting minutes from November 19th, 2025. And I, Veronica Cal second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye. Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schiffern, aye. Thank you. Okay, we have no appointments and hearings today, which is number 2. Number 3, appointment of official personnel. We do not have any. New business. Okay, so under old business, we have no new business tonight. Under old business 5.1, we have the first reading of the alcoholic beverage licensing policy. Val, could you do the honors?
Yep. This is the alcoholic beverage licensing policy. Number 1, purpose. It is the desire of the Townsend Select Board to adopt a uniform policy governing the alcoholic beverage licenses it grants and administers as the local licensing authority, LLA, under General Law, Chapter 138. 2, administration of alcoholic beverage licenses. Approved lapse license. Approvals issued by the licensing board are valid for 6 months from the date of ABCC approval. If the license is not issued within that time because the applicant failed to satisfy all conditions imposed by the licensing board, their approval will lapse and the applicant must reapply and participate in a new hearing. Right to modify or amend. The LLA reserves the right to modify or amend the rules and regulations below, or to adopt such other additions, rules, and regulations as it deems necessary. Notwithstanding these regulations, the LLA may impose different and or more stringent requirements, conditions, and or penalties upon a particular licensee and or licensed premises where necessary to assure public safety or to meet any other public need. 3, types of license procedure. The Town of Townsend issues licenses in accordance with General Law, Chapter 138, and the regulations promulgated by the Commonwealth's Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, ABCC. To apply for license to sell alcoholic beverages, except for one-day special license under General Law, Chapter 138, Section 14, please complete and submit the applicable application, which can be found on the ABCC's website, www.mass.gov/ABCC. Criminal Offender Record Information (CORI). The manager of record listed on the application must submit a CORI check and sign required authorization form at the time the application is submitted to the LLA. Town officials review. All applications will be reviewed by the following town officials prior to the scheduled hearing. 1, building commissioner to ensure compliance with zoning bylaws and building codes and regulations. 2, fire chief to ensure compliance with fire codes and regulations. 3, police chief/licensing agent to investigate application and make recommendation to the licensing board. 4, tax collector to ensure there are no outstanding tax liabilities. 5, land use coordinator to review any land use issues regarding the location of the premises. Public hearing. A public hearing will be scheduled with the LLA to review the application. The applicant or their representative should be present to answer any questions. The applicant is responsible for all hearing-related costs, including legal advertisements and a butter notification if necessary. Licensees will not be approved for applicants who fail to pay said costs. Once signed and approved, the LLA will forward the application to the ABCC. License denial. In the event the LLA does not approve the license request, a written notification outlining the reasons for such action will be sent within 10 days of the public hearing to the ABCC and the applicant. Fee schedule. After the ABCC notifies the LLA that the application has been approved and Form 43 has been received, the applicant will be notified. All new licenses and transfer of licenses are required to pay the following fees to the town of Townsend. Section 18, all alcoholic restaurants, $1,500. Section 15, all alcoholic retail package store, $1,050. Section 12, wine and malt restaurant, $750. Section 15, wine and malt retail package store, $1,000.
Can I just stop you for a minute? Is what you have different than what I have? The first one I have is section 12, and you said section 18. Did I?
I was reading it, so I saw section 12. I
I'll
did not
specify the end.
necessarily.
Section 12, all alcoholic restaurants, $1,500. Section 15, all alcoholic retail package store, $1,050. Section 12, wine and malt restaurant, $750. Section 15, wine and malt retail package store, $1,000. In the case of a license transfer, the full amount of the fee is charged. The licensing board does not prorate the license cost or annual fee. Hours of operation. Unless otherwise set forth on an individual license, licensee's hours of operation shall be as follows. Section 12, restaurants, hotels, clubs, and general on premises, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday.
Okay. Just make sure we're all awake.
Exactly. Sunday, 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. Section 15, package stores, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., Sunday, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. Notwithstanding these regulations, the LLA may impose different and or more stringent requirements, conditions, and or penalties upon a particular licensee and or licensed premise where necessary to assure public safety or meet any other public need. 4, renewal of existing liquor license. In accordance with ABCC regulations, renewal applications of existing licensees shall be received no later than November 30th. Renewal applications will be mailed to the establishment's mailing address on record unless previous arrangements have been made by the licensee. Upon receipt of the renewal package, the licensee must complete all forms, including the workers' compensation affidavit and the tax attestation form. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 16A, this application must be signed in the month of November and returned to the office of the Select Board, 272 Main Street, Townsend, Massachusetts, by November 30th. Any renewal application not signed during the month of November will be treated as a new license and will be subject to all the procedures set forth under Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 15A. 2, all Section 12 license renewals are contingent upon receipt of a valid certificate of inspection issued by the building commissioner and signed by the chief of the fire department and proof of the required liquor liability insurance coverage. 5, findings of violation. Reports of liquor law infractions will be fully investigated by the LLA. Upon receipt of a record that a licensee has violated General Law, Chapter 138, the ABCC's rules or regulations, their license conditions, or this policy, the LLA will conduct a public hearing to determine the appropriate remedial action. 2, the licensee will be notified in writing of the violation and will be notified in writing of the date and time the licensing board will conduct a hearing to review the matter. 3, if the LLA, after a hearing conducted pursuant to General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, determines that a licensee has violated General Law, Chapter 138, the ABCC's rules or regulations, their license conditions, or this policy, the board may modify, suspend, or revoke such license. 6, one-day liquor licenses. One-day special licenses are issued by the LLA pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 14. Businesses or charities that hold events where alcoholic beverages are served are required to obtain a one-day special liquor license from the licensing board. The LLA will be the LLA will be the determine whether a one-day special liquor license is required under Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 14. To be considered for a one-day special liquor license, the applicant must meet the following requirements. 1, no more than one license can be issued per premise at one time. 2, applicant must provide a rain date for the event to be approved by the LLA should there be a cancellation due to inclement weather. 3, the license fee of $20 is required at the time of the application submittal. 4, applications shall be filed with the LLA at least 30 days prior to the event. It is recommended that the applications be filed 60 days in advance. 5, the licensee is required to post the one-day special liquor license in a conspicuous location during the event. 6, all alcohol must be purchased by the one-day special liquor license holder from a licensed Massachusetts wholesaler in compliance with Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 14. Alcohol may not be purchased out of state, from caterer, or from a Section 15 package store. A list of approved wholesalers is located on the ABCC website at www.mass.gov/abcc, or you may contact the Office of the Licensing Board to receive a copy. Applicant must provide contact information for the event and operations managers as part of the incorporation of link to the ABCC website wholesaler list. Delivery and storage. 1, applicant must indicate whether an outside vendor is to be used and identify vendor at the time of application submittal. 2, no one-day special liquor license holders may have alcoholic beverages delivered between the hours of 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. 3, all one-day special liquor licenses will expire at midnight, 12 a.m., and last call must occur at least a half an hour prior to expiration. One-day special liquor licenses will not be approved for any sale hours before noon, 12 p.m. on Sunday. 5, no alcohol may be stored on unlicensed premises. 6, proof of a valid transportation delivery permit held by a Section 12C caterer or licensed wholesaler/importer, manufacturer, farmer winery, farmer brewery, or special permit holder must be provided with the application. 7, for special events covered under a one-day special liquor license, alcohol may be delivered the day of the event and removed from the premises after the event at the expiration of the special license. Under state law, Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 22, holders of a one-day special liquor license may not transport alcohol without a permit. Serving requirements. The license holder should be present at all times during which alcoholic beverages are being sold at the event. License holders are responsible for ensuring that minors do not serve alcoholic beverages and are not drinking alcoholic beverages on the licensed premise. 3, all servers must be 21 years of age and must be certified in alcohol service best practices from TIPS or a similar training program. 4, license holders must implement a drink cap of a maximum of 4 alcoholic beverages per person. 5, the license holder is responsible for ensuring that no disturbance, disorder, or illegality takes place in or on the licensed premises. 6, applicant must provide a schematic/map indicating licensed service area and confirming alcohol will not leave designated service areas. Liability/police detail. License approval for outdoor events is conditioned on the license holder securing a police detail for said event. The license holder must provide a certificate of liability insurance to include liquor liability, naming the town of Townsend as an additional insured policy. Coverage must be as followed. A, $1 million per occurrence. B, $2 million general aggregate. 30-day limitation. No license holder may be granted a one-day special liquor license for more than a total of 30 days per calendar year, and no special license will be granted to any person while his application for an annual license under Section 12 is pending. Special licenses under General Law, Chapter 138, Section 14 are subject to additional statutory requirements. A license for all alcoholic beverages may be issued only to an individual acting on behalf of a nonprofit organization. Licenses for wine and or malt beverages may be issued to any eligible individual. The 30-day aggregate time limit does not apply to dining halls maintained by incorporated educational institutions authorized to grant degrees unless a limited exception has been granted.
Thank you for reading all that.
Thank you.
The only comment I have is that under number 6 on, it's like page 4, there will be the determine. to just get that language.
Yeah.
Corrected.
Mm.
And other than that, I'm good to go with it.
I think there was one other grammatical word, but if I find it.
And then I think you said insured something, but it wasn't party at the end of number 2 under liability policy. I mean, I knew what you meant because I was looking at it, but, so before coverage must be as follows. The word is party in the period, just to be clear.
Where are
with
you
AI.
at?
Hmm?
Where are you at?
That was under liability policy detail, number 2, before the last sentence that says coverage must be as follows. It says insured party.
Is that an issue?
As-
No, it was stated as, it wasn't,
Okay.
I forget what you said. It wasn't party. So I'm just making it clear.
Oh,
like
you
for
mean
AI.
the reading versus
Yeah,
the words?
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine. There were a couple more. There was a may that should be a shall or vice versa. There were a couple, but I don't think that's
Okay, so that will be caught anyway.
that's it's the written that
Yeah.
is the important.
Okay.
Shooting for 99%.
Right. And I think you hit it.
And thank you for doing that.
Anytime. I
It
got
just
another
needs
one.
another, like, where it says and or licensed, there has to be a comma there or a space. But outside of that, I didn't see anything. So this was our first reading. And that's November 25th.
So second reading will be,
We can do December 2nd.
Mhm. Only took 10 minutes.
It'll be quicker the next time.
I'm gonna be
You'll
like
be a pro.
speed
do
reading.
you want me to read the next one? It's much shorter, I believe.
I don't mind.
Can we just have
Okay.
AI read it next time?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, does it need a
Clerk,
human?
clerk responsibilities, I can do it.
All right.
Actually, they're not always correct either, so you have to be awake when AI reads as well.
Mhm.
5.2,
I think, do we need a motion to have the
have a second
second?
reading?
No,
Yeah.
not for the second reading. I think the motion is to
After.
adopt.
Understood.
And we have nothing to change for legal counsel, so that's just it.
I think there was a grammatical word or two for Sabrina,
Yeah.
but that's it.
We're good.
So we have to do,
Something came to mind, while this was being read, and I could just, is this for all private parties as well?
yes, there's the second part is the 1 day liquor license.
Of the one day, but I mean,
Yeah,
in the one day, is that,
if you're having a party in your house, you do not need a liquor license.
okay, well, my question was, if you're not selling liquor, if you're just having a party, you're not, there's no
No.
sales.
The way I understand it though is like if you have a bar at a wedding on your facility, you would have to
Then
do
you would
this.
have to, yeah.
Okay,
But in that case, the caterer would have the wholesale and
Mhm.
the whole thing would
Right.
be straightforward.
understood. So the conversation is so that we've had the conversation, and if somebody else was wondering about the same question, it's out there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Always ask the questions.
Awesome. 5.2, Veronica, do you want to take this one?
Go ahead.
Oh, if
Give
you
her a
want me
break?
to, I don't mind. I offered and Valerie said
Yes,
she
you
would do
did.
her clerkly duties.
I'll do my clerkly duties.
But I don't mind reading it at all. if
I don't
you would
mind.
like me
And I
to.
don't care which one does it.
I got it. Okay, I'm on board.
Thank you.
Okay. Town council policy, policy 07/2025, revised policy number 4/2018. Purpose, the select board and town administrator agreed to establish a consistent process for use of legal counsel. Policy, town council policy, use of legal counsel. A request for legal services form must be filled out and returned to the select board's office before the use of legal counsel can be utilized. This process is necessary in order to track expenses and for budgeting purposes. Authorization must be obtained from the town administrator and or their designee before town council can be assessed. All boards and commissions other than the select board must have a vote authorizing the request before authorization is provided. It is preferred for town council services to be virtual or via phone call. The sole exception to this rule are for the select board and are as follows. Number one, the chair of the select board or the select board through a majority vote shall have direct access to request town council to attend a meeting of the select board. Any member seeking legal advice on a matter shall have direct access to town council. Number two, any select board member seeking legal advice on a matter shall have direct access to town council. Number three, all members of the select board requesting ethics opinions, conflict of interest law, shall have direct access to town council. They do not need to copy the chair of the select board on such inquiries, and town council shall respond to the member directly without copies to other members of the select board. Four, members of the select board shall notify the town administrator of each contact for budget purposes. However, they are not required to explain the content.
Any discussion? This is our second reading.
No, I'm good with that. I'm just looking at the form. Okay, I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, good. Okay. So, November 5, 2025, second reading. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the new select.
Adopt?
What?
Are we adopting?
Sorry. Correct?
The term is adopt, I guess, yeah.
I, Valerie Goodrich, move to adopt the town council policy of, the second reading was on November
25.
25th, 2025.
I think Sabrina said, she had a note for this in the motions,
It's
It-
about town
Motions.
council review.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, 1 second, I'll pull that up.
Yep.
Let me,
It's done.
no, it's okay. Oops,
Okay.
I got it here.
Do you?
Yep. I, Valerie Goodrich, move to approve the use of town council policy contingent upon review by town council and signature out of session by signature stamp. Thanks,
Sure.
Sabrina.
Veronica Cal, second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No?
Hearing none. Roll call.
well, roll call vote.
Sorry, it was in my mind. I could have sworn that I said it. It was in my mind. Roll call vote, please.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you. So we are adopted on 11/25/2025. Okay, 5.3. Review, discuss, report on select board and town administrator goals, 2026. Veronica, do you want to take this?
I don't know. I guess, did everybody get the form that Callie sent out?
Take this?
Yes. So do we want to, what I expected to see here was the other form and it's not here. So let me pull out what I had
I
from
think
last week.
The reason for that being the first form seemed to be, it had a lot of details on it.
Mhm.
Some of which I wasn't even sure that Nelson would put on there for a public meeting because some of it was related to union stuff.
Right.
And so I didn't think that was appropriate for discussion as a part of the goals review, And then also it seemed that some of the goals were not actually related to our goal. It was a more general administrative goal. So like our goal with regard to human resources was for Nelson to figure out what we're gonna do with human resources once ARPA funds are removed. And some of the goals listed there were more like general HR, like day-to-day stuff. And that wasn't what I thought our goals. So just to be clear, these are select board goals.
Yes.
And we were really specific about what they were. So I think that was the issue I had with the detailed. It didn't
Yeah,
seem to be based on the,
I like this better.
Yeah.
Because it was your suggestion from a couple meetings back to have the goals that we set. So the four in yellow are the
primary.
primaries and the two blues are the secondaries.
Yeah.
What I expected to see was the one that, where we moved everything around.
Yeah.
Did you guys get that?
No,
This. So in other words, what we have here is this.
Yeah.
That's what's in the SharePoint. What I wanted to see was this, and I had updated it and sent it. Did you guys all get this
I
updated?
think, can I just see that for a second?
I don't think so. And I thought I'd seen everything
It's-
that was in,
It was the
SharePoint.
block thing that Callie did, only we took out the block and made
See,
it
so,
these
so the
6
reason,
rows.
the reason I thought this was like, and I don't know, we could just edit this, was like, for example, like, the DPW restriction was under human resources, but that's not. That's a DPW thing, right? So I didn't, I thought a lot of these were off the actual
So they all got
goal.
moved.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I moved them around and sent them to Callie. Callie moved them as well. And it was supposed to go in the SharePoint, so you guys didn't get it.
I think there, maybe the one that I was looking at in the SharePoint was hers, and that was the one that I had said, oh, because there was some stuff about union negotiations on there,
Okay, let me.
and I
go
didn't
right
want
now.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a public. I thought that was a,
Okay,
in particular, there was one item that was on there as a, I think, a policy and procedures, and that definitely was not supposed to be on there, so. From what I understand.
so did either of you do anything with the original? My Outlook is taking forever to come up.
I did not.
No, I expressed some of my like thoughts on, it seemed like they were not the select board's goals, it was general administrative goals. If that makes sense.
Okay, so I don't know why my Outlook is doing
I mean, but Nelson, is this something you could put a list in for each of these? I mean, I guess that was my,
well, I thought that I took the ones that were relevant
okay.
and moved them in.
Yeah,
What did I just see there?
I don't know.
Nelson, did you want to comment?
this,
Yeah,
that was from like,
a couple
Three.
meetings ago.
yeah, correct.
Okay, I have to get into my Outlook and,
I think generally speaking, you know, the way it's laid out is great. You know, it's a good way for everyone to see, you know, the goals and, you know, whether they've been checked off and then, you know, other ones that are sort of in progress. I think we're almost there. I do feel we just need sort
Yeah,
of some consensus from.
Yeah, exactly. I thought you should be in charge of what was in each
Mhm.
category and less so HR, someone else, just because you know that what our
Yeah.
goals are related to that.
So,
Right.
you know, I can certainly populate this grid if this 6 square grid is kind of what you guys, are, you know, believe that should be the
Yeah, I mean,
format.
if, I think if Nelson can populate this, and then we can add anything that we think.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
so I can, populate this, and then, you know, the board can take a look at it.
Okay. We can bring that back, under old business next week.
Okay, sounds good. And then that will be
We can
an
review what you
always under old business
Correct.
thing.
Perfect.
Here it is. Here's the one that. Okay, let me,
Is that something you could print and just, or,
I can't
Send
print
us.
from here. I don't have access to that
oh,
printer.
right. I wouldn't-
So I can't
We're
print
not
here.
allowed
I
to.
have to print at home. and
Our
bring
home
it in.
computers.
I can email it to you.
Is that the one that had some listings? Is everything good in that one?
There were some, yeah, specific goals filled out. I'll print off a copy for everybody just so that they have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, print it right now.
Is it called TA-goal-1.pdf? Is that what it's called?
It's called block report.
Oh, there's one after that. Where everything got moved. And I sent it back and asked that it was put in All right, let me download this. It's a fillable PDF. Is that what yours is?
Yeah.
Right? We don't want that on there. Am I correct?
Yeah.
There's a copy for everybody.
Okay, I am gonna send you guys what, and this might be Callie's, this might not be mine. I
See, this is,
updated
yeah,
mine.
This says 11-4.
yeah, this isn't,
There was one after it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. I'm sending it to select board, and this is the goals report. Is that what the title is? At the top?
yeah, this block report I did not, because this was not even our goals.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was,
Let me,
This one says bi-weekly goal progress review.
yeah,
yeah, but see, this isn't our goals. Leadership isn't one of our goals. Those aren't our goals.
those aren't,
Those are
no.
just general,
Okay, so,
that's not,
Okay, so let me send this
I
to
mean,
you
it's
guys.
fine for like, for an annual review, but from like going through the goals every
okay.
other week,
Yeah,
it seemed like a
I'm
lot
getting
of.
there. And this can be, edited. This is not mine, but it is, all right, I'm sending it to each of you.
So if you're sending it to Nelson, could we print?
Sure. Do you want to print it when you get it, Nelson?
I don't need a copy, Nelson, I got it here.
The TA goal one? Oh, yeah, I just mailed it to you. So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so see, like, some of this stuff just seemed to me like it wasn't actually related to the goal.
Yeah, I moved some stuff around.
Yeah,
And I added things, especially, it was under human resources. I think Callie put a bunch of her stuff in there.
yeah, so like,
Thank you.
so a lot of this stuff I thought was just general job description stuff and not the specific goal we had, I guess, but I mean,
Well, the internal negotiations, that is a goal. We don't have to talk about them specifically,
Yeah,
but
so-
to get
but
that
so the human resources goal I thought we had was to figure out what we're going to do
with human resources.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's nothing to do with hiring a town accountant. That's just a generic,
Mm-hmm,
day-to-day thing, I think.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was a lot. If we put all that stuff in there, it's a lot to be reviewing and we lose track of the actual goals. If that makes any sense.
But we do need midstreams. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah, okay, all right. So the idea was to put this in the SharePoint.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can find mine, because I edited this beyond.
From the 19th.
Yeah, but if everybody can go through and edit it and then put it together, and then we can make one. And then we have to talk about an evaluation document.
Mhm.
Is that something you wanted Callie to take a look at? I think they're all
She
kind
did
of,
look.
MMA has a ton of them.
well, here in town, Callie has over the last few years, sort of, put forth a kind of consistent evaluation form, certainly one for department heads to do for employees.
I just
Yeah.
would think that I mean, I know when we were reviewing the library director, I went to the Massapequa Library Commissioners and said, what is a library director review? Because there's really specific things
Mhm.
that aren't necessarily like a department head or something like that. So I don't know if they wanted to look into it.
Well, she sent, at least to me, what was used before, the one that we used last spring.
Mhm.
And I don't know how these fit into it, because I thought from the contract, we were to develop goals, and then that was what we reviewed on.
Yep.
So, did you guys get a mailing from
Well,
Callie?
the evaluation is different than the goals. That's separate from the goals, or no?
No,
Related.
not, it's related. It's you are evaluated on the goals that are set. Did you meet them or did you not? So one of the things in the other one was facilities, and we don't really have anything on facilities.
I would think kind of like, if I was thinking of a town administrator review, it would be, here was our goals for the year, you review on each of the goals, and there's a general job duties section, like all the stuff that we don't have to make a goal for,
Right,
you know,
His contract.
for anything that's in the job description, like the
Yes.
generic stuff.
right.
Like, that's not an actual goal, that's just part of the job description. The goals are our specific year to year, they change,
Mm-hmm.
which is the flexible nature of it. Just some thoughts.
Doesn't the evaluation tie into the contract?
The evaluation is
Not just-
required by
Not
the
just the
contract.
goals, not just the goals.
I think they're related.
Okay.
Goals and job description, yeah.
So I think it's two kind
Not
of,
separate,
yeah.
together, okay.
Do you have your contract up there?
I do, I'm looking at the evaluation. I mean, it kind of lays out the process, but it doesn't necessarily say, with other, contracts where you need at least a satisfactory in order to get a bump in your pay. It doesn't really state any of that.
What does it say you're evaluated on now? That's what I'm,
What section?
Mutually acceptable goals and objectives defined below. Let me see here. Define measurable goals and performance objectives which they determine necessary for the proper operation of the town. Further establish relative priority among those various objectives. We'll work together to develop evaluation documents to be used for the evaluation of the town administrator. So it's up to you guys and the TA to develop, yeah. So,
and I know that the 6 goals that are on there are the 6 that we set for Eric Schlegel when we hired him.
Mhm.
And apparently they just kept them through the
They didn't
process.
change them each year.
No.
Oh, see, the way at
They,
the MMA training, it was like, there was 2 town administrators who did a presentation, and they were basically like, each year, the select board sets our goals, and that's what determines what we work on that year.
that's
Remember that?
exactly
Why
right.
wouldn't they change?
Yeah, because like, next year, they're not gonna be the same,
Right, and
and it's based on the budget and what's going on in town.
mhm. So the 5 or 6 goals that she has listed are the ones that we had set three years ago. And they apparently evaluated on that last year, and that was the same tool that we used to evaluate Nelson, you and I, Laurie,
Maybe
in
we
the
should
spring.
reach out and get some examples from some other.
We could do that. I would just change the goals.
That's
You
fine.
know, and then put the general section, which I think there is
Yeah.
at the bottom there.
Yep.
And just take the 6 that we have here.
Yeah.
That we set back in August, I think, that
Yeah.
we've been talking about for,
July.
was it
Mhm.
July? It was a while back,
Mhm.
and put them in there. So
That's
that's
fine.
what I would do.
I
And
think it
then-
is different than other department heads in town and stuff, so it shouldn't necessarily be the same review form in that regard. Because other department heads' goals aren't changing every year.
Right, that's right. So,
2 cents.
Okay,
Sounds good.
so this will be on the next meeting.
mhm.
For a second. Goals will probably be on every meeting with old business, but may not be reported on but once a month, if that's all that or twice a month. Or
Right.
sometimes we could meet 3 times and it's not necessary.
It could also,
At
they're
least
often,
once a month.
they're often kind of a part of the town administrator updates also.
Right.
Okay, so we good with that? Next on to the work session, 6.1. Nelson?
Okay, first up, the Board of Health, / Health Department received their annual, Sustainable Materials Recovery Program grant, the SMRP grant. So I believe it's point-based, and depending on certain goals and objectives that you hit, you get certain points, and that would lead to a certain dollar amount that you would receive from the state. This has been a fairly annual grant that we've received. I think in recent years, we've added a few extra points because, you know, we instituted a new program. I think the recent Pay As You Throw program, Purple Bag, resulted in a few extra points that we received from the state, which increased our grant amount. So,
Do you know what is there a scale or something? Because I see we got 16 points. But
What is that in
But what
comparison?
are those 16 points and how
Right.
many points are there
The
total?
maximum 1,000 or the
Because
maximum 20?
the money that's total is 4.2 million, but we got 9,600.
Yeah.
Your municipality has also awarded 3,000.
so it depends on our population size. The higher population our city or town is, each point is worth more. So,
Okay.
it's kind of broken down in the grant document. So it really depends on a number of factors, and, you know, a number of households in the community is one of the big criteria items. So, the recycling center uses this money every year to sort of continue some of their operations. So, it's a great program, and, you know, Irene Condon, who is a town resident, also part of the recycling committee, is part of Mass DEP, and every year she's instrumental in helping us get this grant up and running. So, the select board doesn't need to sign any documents, but it would just be, you know, the town administrator to sign the acknowledging the grant.
Okay. And thank you to Irene, who's the chair again, I guess, of recycling.
Let's see here, police union negotiations update. We had a meeting yesterday. I don't think we're allowed to discuss details, right?
No
Yep,
details.
got it. So,
Next meeting.
yep, we have a meeting scheduled next for December 5th, to continue the discussions. So, yeah, that's about all I can share at the moment, with folks, because it is an ongoing, negotiation.
We may be able to put on the next meeting, a vote. Because there will need to be a vote.
Yes,
So
possible.
that would be the 9th. If you're meeting on the 5th, our next meeting is the 9th.
The 9th or the 8th.
8th.
Oh, that's right, the 8th.
So you guys changed it?
Oh, I don't know, is it changed?
Well, we can talk about it further down the
We can
list.
talk
next
about it
meeting.
the next meeting.
Yeah, that's 6.4. But yeah, it's very possible that there might be something at the next select board meeting. What's next? I had briefly discussed my report on the creation of the possibility of creating a DPW. I think we kind of discussed it, but if there's any further discussion, we can certainly have it here.
I absolutely want further discussion on that. I think that, you know, we need a plan for how that is gonna be enacted.
Mhm.
And I can understand that it's not enacted this year, but we need to start getting work on job descriptions.
Yeah. I think it's
What the
also,
structure is, what the job descriptions need to, and then how do we negotiate with the unions?
Mhm. It's separate unions. No, Parks and Cemetery isn't union, right?
Well, there would be the, 3 unions
Yeah,
involved.
supervisors, highway.
And that was,
Highway, water, supervisors and clerical.
is Pam in the clerical union? She's only super part-time. Does that matter?
It doesn't matter,
I
but
can't remember.
I'm trying to remember if she's in or not. I think she's not,
I don't think she is. Yeah, so it's just the two,
but
but
Danielle is.
yeah, for
And
highway, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, and she's also partly in facilities. So let me think about it a little bit further. I think my analysis was, you know, I stand by it. I think at the moment, for a number of reasons I detailed in the report, creating one right now doesn't make a lot of sense for, you know, several reasons, but I will think about it further, how we could potentially, adopt it, maybe, you know, say, a year from now or so, once we, you know, discuss and, you know, talk to the unions about changing job descriptions.
How are we gonna do fiscal 27 without working on something like now? Am I wrong? And what are we gonna do in
Well,
27?
I mean, you know, creating a DPW is not the silver bullet to our fiscal issues, you know. I looked at it, I don't think there's any, if, you know, much savings at all.
Savings?
Yeah, so I don't think, again, it's the silver bullet that would solve our financial issues.
I think we need to look at a structure, see what the structure is. I mean, certainly, if you look at what's there today, it's what's there today, and there it is, and boom, boom, boom. But I think we need to look at a structure, what that structure would look like, how many people are actually needed. Is there a savings as far as, you know, there's a lot of temporary positions that go on. Would we be better off making those temporary positions more permanent? And how many people do we need to support all of the different organizations or functions of a DPW? I think we need to look at what's there in the document that DLS did 10 years ago. I doubt that it's changed much at all.
No, yeah, it has not changed much at all.
And so I think that their ideas are worth looking at, but I think we need a structure. And then we need to look at that and say, what positions in what unions, at what point do we have the discussions with the unions? You know, Adam alluded to some of that. And then where do we need votes from the town? And how do we get those incorporated with the goal of more than likely not having it in place in FY 27, but having it functioning come FY 28.
So I'll take a look at the structure a little bit closer. I still think a lot of our staff are part-time, extremely temporary help. You know, we don't have a lot of full-time employees to kind of sort of move those chess pieces around. You know, it's really our temporary help that we're relying heavily on.
I think
to
even-
get the
Even our
work done.
full-time
Yeah,
people
I think
though.
even if you look at, when the highway superintendent was talking about plowing, he indicated like long run, it would be wonderful to not have to go out for contracts if we had
Mhm.
sufficient staff.
Right.
And so obviously we can't add staff with our current budget issues. However, is there some way,
We could save money by having more staff.
but you know, that balance, is it,
I mean, I was thinking too, would our employees, or could we even get more employees if we combine jobs full-time and have them working year-round? What they might do in the summertime, they would be, you know, they could work the wintertime. It wouldn't be whatever, and we wouldn't need the subcontractors.
And what licenses do they need? Is there an overlap or is there something additional? Do we include the water department or do we not include the water department? How does recycling and trash fit into this?
Mhm.
And then where do the different commissions that we have, you know, the Parks and Rec
Okay,
and
as you say
Board of
that,
Health?
okay, as you say that, because I've been meaning to say something about this. I saw, and I don't know if anybody else saw, I think Nelson did, the video that was put together by Roger Raposa.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Did you see it?
He sent it out,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah,
So you look at that, and I'm thinking to myself, how many employees does he have? Look at all that work that needs to be done. I don't know, because I didn't look into it. How many employees does he have? And if they are only seasonal, would they be working hand in hand with highway? Or are there people there that could work hand in hand with highway?
And if we are, in the report that you wrote, Nelson, if we are gonna have people that plow from cemeteries this winter, I think that needs to be formalized. I think we need to, you know, make sure that that's written down
oh, you mean for municipalities?
for our municipality.
I mean, the
Yeah.
buildings themselves, the municipal buildings, is that what we were?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're
yeah.
both union.
I think that needs to be discussed and, you know, do what we need to do to formalize it.
And in this process, I think, just to make clear, it's not reassigning any board functions. It's just the structure under which they fall.
Correct.
So,
How they
you know, the
work.
recycling commission, the board of health, all these things, still, they stay the same in their responsibilities, because that's Mass General Law. It's the employees and where they fall.
Yes.
That is different. It's not the board responsibilities.
But how do they fit within the
Yeah,
DPW?
exactly.
Where, you know,
And this isn't novel to us. It's,
right.
Okay, so I will, look at things further, see, you know, what kind of structure we would need to come up with in the coming year or two to sort of get something up and running. So I'll dig into that a little bit further. Let's see
thanks,
here.
Nelson.
The 5-year preliminary financial forecast, I think at the last meeting with the finance committee, I kind of showed at least a baseline model of what the next 5 years would look like. You know, it certainly doesn't look good. So it's a forecast that I will have to continually change as more information comes in. And then, you know, but, you know, certainly at the moment, we're looking at, where's my, I'm looking a baseline deficit about $270,000. And I think that number is only gonna go up as we get more information. Because it's really only forecasting a 3% increase for the general operating budget for town departments, and then a 3% increase with North Middlesex and the tech school, which I think 3% for North Middlesex is probably not sufficient at the moment, but you know, we'll know more as we progress into the budget season.
It was big, if anybody, I was gonna do it as part of my liaison update, but it's probably related to this one, so I feel fine putting it in here. There was, regarding North Middlesex budget, there was a forum at Groton Dunstable.
There was, and
I wasn't able to attend because of my daughter's birthday, but I watched it, and anybody who's interested definitely should take a peek at it, because it, you know, one of the things that kept coming up during this forum was how much the school budget crisis in our towns is affecting the relationship between the municipalities and the school districts.
Hmm.
And to try and not let that become a wedge between uncontrollable circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think the school district is well aware that they can't ask the towns for more than that. And so they're just gonna have to, if it means they're bringing overrides forward to the towns or whatever it means, the school will, they're talking to us, so.
Okay, because the school's gonna have to do it. Wait,
They have their hands tied just as much as we do.
Mhm.
I'm
And
sure.
they're well aware of how much it's affecting our municipalities, and they constantly state, they don't want us to have to cut public safety, because then they suffer also. But they're, you know, the funding formula is not set to be changed until FY '28.
Right.
So we can hope that FY '27, there's that supplemental funding again, but I don't think there's any way to know that at this point in time.
Yeah, but
But the thing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, if the state wanted to do it, the state could do it. If the
Yeah.
state wanted to file an emergency of which they created upon all the municipalities, they could do it. They don't have to wait another year. They have other things on their mind and they're putting their money someplace else. In the meantime, we're all gonna suffer.
Well-
351 towns.
But here's the thing, there were supplemental funds that were dispersed this year, but the district is keeping them, from what I can tell, and they're not lowering the assessments to the town.
They're in the process of discussing some policy adjustments, and this is again, really, this is the liaison kind of update with Nelson's report. Sorry for the combination. They're in the process of looking at some policies on how they use their reserve funds, so that they have that in place going into the future, and we'll wait and see what.
Hopefully, the future is FY
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
27.
Yeah, so I think they're working hard on that right now. I think a lot of people over there are trying to really put in a lot of effort to figure out how best to come to us, because they know we all are in the same position.
Well, we already sent a letter,
Yeah, oh no,
To
they
them.
have that.
and it's 2.6%. And that's really all we have. And even with that, with 3%, we are still in the hole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
270,000. And so how do we get out of that hole on the municipal side is the question. And so I guess my question on this, I have two things, but one question is, we should be setting the budget guidelines. So at what point typically the letter goes out to departments at the beginning of November.
December?
December.
Yeah, sorry. Is that on
Next
the,
week.
on the,
It'll be on the December
on the
2nd.
December
Yep.
2nd?
I've yet to craft a letter. I'm
Mhm.
still trying to figure out what message I want to deliver. But yeah, it will be part of the December 2nd select board meeting, is reviewing that budget memo and you know, potentially revising it.
So what are our priorities, the select board's priorities for the FY '27 budget? I mean, mine is to make sure it's balanced, that we don't have that 272,000 deficit.
Does that include, if I may, does that include the growth from, Vicky, that you gave us the other day, the 120?
Yeah, that's
That
that's
Takes
in
into
there.
consideration the growth already.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
And so we have to figure out where that's coming from. So it's almost like, well, it's a freeze on
Everything.
expenses. And then do we need to be working with the unions for a salary freeze? I mean, the contracts are up, I believe, at the end of June, end of the fiscal year. If in fact we haven't negotiated for the following fiscal years, the contract extends, if I remember right, from what it was. So does that mean we're looking at a 2% COLA and a 2%, 4% that we don't have? When what was put in there was a 2%.
Well, I guess
Do we?
this board then has to have the hard discussion of
Cutting.
cutting and having our employees that are here be paid well.
Yes.
Mhm.
and not having as many, which is not a discussion anybody wants to have. However, I think that asking everybody to not take an increase is a big ask.
I agree, and we've already asked that, and people who are
And our
not in
non-union
unions,
have taken
have
the
complied.
increase.
I think
and we
that's,
can't do that again.
it's a hard conversation. None of us want to have it, but
Yeah.
with
We-
$270,000.
So that's one
We
of the,
cut expenses so much last year. There's only so much that we're gonna be able to,
so in addition to the DPW, one of it's the restructuring of the org chart. We need to look at that. Are there departments that we don't need? Are there departments that, I mean, do we do a hiring freeze? If we have attrition, we don't hire.
Mhm.
How do we handle that? I think that's something we have to think about and talk about at our next meeting.
do we wanna have a specific budget 27 line item, or
Yeah, I think so. I think we do.
just so we can have free
And then
conversation about it?
I asked Nelson yesterday for how much was in stabilization and how much was in capital stabilization.
I sent you the report.
You did, and it wasn't in the SharePoint. So,
I thought there was 0 in capital.
There's a little bit.
the thing is, I don't think that the first payment for the snowplow, the big snowplow that we ordered has been taken out of here. And that was one of the things that was voted, because I think that was around 30,000.
Uh-huh.
28, 30,000, I can't remember exactly, but it's in that range. And capital stabilization right now has 45,834.38,
That's like
and
9.
that's too
Can you repeat that number
high.
again?
$45,834.38
Without the payment being.
without the payment being
So it's like
removed.
15 probably.
We're around 15.
And general stabilization?
Is $1,079,824.48. So
And
I
what's
think
the recommended amount by the state?
it's 4% of your operating budget. I take the operating budget at the whole 27 mil. There are people who are active on Facebook who say, oh, no, you take out the school budget, but the school budget is
Is
part
our
of
tax
ours.
dollar.
And so I think we are definitely working paycheck to paycheck, kind of. That's kind of how
That's a
we're
lot,
running.
it's a lot right now.
Yeah, and we certainly are. So we don't have a lot there to take out. I don't know our free cash situation. We've kind of guessed at that.
We are still waiting for the DOR to certify it.
Mhm.
They have other cities and towns who have special town meetings that are kind of more priority for DOR to look and certify. So I think it's imminent, I think, pretty soon, probably after Thanksgiving sometime.
But still, we have to be careful with it.
We do.
Yeah, I think once we get the amount certified, then we can sort of start planning some warrant articles. I do think, not that we haven't done this in the past, we probably need to be very judicious about what we spend on free cash, because I think we're gonna need every bit of it for snow and ice and, potentially to balance the budget. I hate to use free cash to
For
do.
salaries.
I would like to see some of it for ClearGov software.
Mhm.
Which
Um,
is small, 9,000.
I know, it's small, but I would like to
It's
see
small, but it's
some of
still
it
a
there.
I think FinCom, I mean,
and
I'll
I-
talk to them, but they seemed,
I think we also need to have some put aside for attorney fees.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough in that line item
We're,
with the new structure.
we're quickly, gonna be, over budget in the town council line. We're still okay for now.
My feeling
just-
was we're maybe good for 4 months maybe.
And for
For a little bit.
clarification, the structure was changed from one monthly flat fee to hourly,
Correct.
for anybody listening.
And so that we didn't,
In
we
October.
didn't factor that in when we did the budgeting. We
Right.
would have budgeted differently.
Yep, we didn't know about
October 1st
the,
change.
the change,
Right.
which
I
is
think
pretty
that the snow
significant
and ice
to
budget
how
may
we
completely eradicate
budget
our
these
free cash
expenses.
because we're grossly underfunded.
So, yeah, I
that.
think as we,
Free cash has to be used to balance it.
yeah,
I
we'll
don't
need to
know that
figure out
there's
how
any
much
money for
more,
anything else.
we would
And I
need
agree
in,
that the town
town
council
council
budget is
fees.
underfunded right
Um,
now. So we're
and
screwed.
then with the upcoming, all the union contracts expire, we're gonna need, town labor council to assist with that as well.
So,
So, yeah. So, we need to talk about that. Let's see, what's next? Fire EMS regionalization, there was a quick update actually, as of earlier this afternoon. Originally, we were gonna have, a meeting of all the town administrators and fire chiefs on December 4th. Turns out there was a conflict, on that date. So now we've revised it to December 11th. And I think I sent an email about that earlier this afternoon. So I've told the fire chief about it. Hopefully either he can make it or he can send a representative from the fire department to attend, but it will be at the water treatment plant.
Training room.
Yes.
and, what towns are, I think when we first looked at this, we were thinking Ashby, Pepperell, Townsend.
Yeah, and we had also included Groton
Groton
and
and
Dunstable.
Because they're part of the 911 system or whatever. Is that the reason, the communications?
Yeah, and it's just geographically, it's the closest.
And
We've also now included Air, Littleton, and Tingsboro.
I have a concern about that. I really do. I think that going that large regionalization, I just think of the communication center when we went with the one in Devon's. That was so big. And now we left that and wound up smaller, which has been positive for the town.
Mhm.
I am concerned that the regionalization is getting huge. And I think that if we're gonna do that, and I know I've mentioned this before, I would really like the Collins Center or someone else, a consultant that is not necessarily the TAs of all these towns.
That was brought up
Working on
actually at
this.
the, North Middlesex budget meeting. I think just as initiatives we're trying to take on to tie it with regard to school, and I think Andrew, the town administrator, Pepperell mentioned that too.
Okay.
So who are the rest? I mean, first it was 3, then it was 5, then it was 7, then
Yeah.
it's 11.
Yeah,
It's 11?
I got 8. Well, he's got 11 towns, so who are the 11?
I have them right here. Ashby, Air. We added Devon's because apparently they have a really nice state-of-the-art fire department or EMS.
Here's his,
So Devon's,
Closer, right?
Dunstable, Groton, Littleton, Lunenburg is a new one, Pepperell, Shirley's a new one, Townsend and Tingsboro. So that is the 11. We've only had 2 meetings and they were only at the TA level. We think out of these 11, people are gonna start dropping out because it doesn't make sense for them, and then we're gonna start much smaller, which I think is probably what it's gonna end up being. But we at least wanna cast a wide net, see who's interested.
I mean, out in Franklin County, they have even larger networks of regional services like this, and I'm not saying we should do what they're doing, but it's worth hearing. I think, and
I
seeing,
think talking about it
Yeah.
is worth it, but I will say that and I'll look and see what's going on, but we have really good services in Townsend. My fear is that we're gonna wind up without good services in Townsend. We've spent a
where's all
lot
the
of
money?
money, making sure that our fire EMS is working the way the town wants it to work.
I guess the question though is if we don't have that money in the future. If we're looking at a 5-year plan with $1 million short,
Yeah, but does it always,
that's
I
just,
don't know.
that's-
I
I
don't
think-
want
yeah.
the service to
no, I don't think anybody wants the
decrease.
service to decrease.
And I am afraid that if we get to 11 towns, which might not be what it is in the end, but 11 towns talking who all have their own idea without one
And
person
culture.
who has done this before, looking at it, is talking about it is one thing. I really think you need the Collins Center or someone in there looking at this,
There's a-
especially if you're
There's a
going.
mass regionalization, initiative group, I've gotten emails from it that specifically comes out and helps with regionalization efforts.
Yes, and
I think
they,
that's great.
from Collins Center, from UMass Boston, who were at the conference I went to in the spring for small towns. And that was one of the two main topics that they talked about, was regionalization of EMS. They weren't talking about fire so much. They were talking about regionalization of EMS. And they strongly suggested that that you bring them in, and I'm sure they're looking for work themselves, but they strongly suggested that there be someone, not
Third party.
a third
definitely.
party, perfect, helping with it. And so I am going to urge you, Nelson, to please get somebody in there if we're doing this.
I will,
If it's just Ashby, Pepperell, and Townsend, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But when you start meeting with 11 people, I mean, that's 22 people in the room, all with their own ideas.
Yep.
It gets a little nutso.
oh, it does. So I will, reiterate that, we should probably, seriously consider bringing Collins Center in to assist with this, with these talks. So just to, not to belabor the point, but at this meeting on the 11th, it will be the fire chiefs and the TAs, just sort of laying out the groundwork of what the goals and expectations are. And then we think the following meeting is just gonna be the subject matter experts all in the room, the fire chiefs, talking amongst themselves, what work, what doesn't work, what, who's in, who's out. So at that meeting, less people, hopefully the subject matter experts will, come to sort of some consensus on, how to.
I think that meeting would be very good to have somebody mediating the discussion amongst.
Outsider.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
The third
Outsiders.
party, I think.
Just
it's
remind,
important.
because I think if everybody, this is a goal that maybe the municipalities have, and it might not be shared with all the departments, and I understand. Yeah, I completely, if I was in their position, I might feel exactly the same. But
Well,
I think,
here's my concern. If we were Ashby or Pepperell, I would be jumping on something. But how much do we get in our budget from the E EMS?
The ambulance receipts,
Yes,
about $900,000.
Okay, where are we gonna get that once you regionalize?
I don't think it would necessarily go down, there actually might be an opportunity for, increased revenue, if,
I would wanna see that.
I don't.
Ask for the numbers
Yeah.
of all the other, anybody that we're gonna be considering regionalizing with, what their numbers are.
And, if we are all gonna be, as the Pepperell TA called it, dance partners in this, we will have to put all of our cards on the table. And, as part of the email today, there was a spreadsheet where folks were supposed to fill out, some of that information, their budget, equipment that they have, how much ambulance receipts they receive in a
I
given year.
understand that.
And
Those
So-
did they fill it out?
Well, Pepperell just sent it this afternoon, so I don't expect all 10
But those are
communities.
numbers that we all should know.
And I know there's different, different departments work different ways and within their towns, and they may have a really robust department, but less ambulance receipts, so.
I'd love to see it.
So,
I think they should be equal partners.
in theory, yes, I do think there's gonna be certain towns that are much stronger than others. Some towns who are lacking in some of the EMS fire capabilities who want to join in. They may need to chip in personnel or resources to sort of, pull their share. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
That's why this is still very preliminary. We don't even have a framework of what it's gonna look like, but we won't know until we.
Start somewhere,
Yeah,
see if it works.
until we get people at the table. And again, out of the 11, I wouldn't be surprised if, a good quarter to a third drop out pretty quickly. I've already heard some, communities, they don't think they're gonna be part of the first wave, for various reasons, which is understandable, because they have their own considerations to take into account. So, like you said, we have to start somewhere. You might as well start big and, shrink it down to something more manageable. So, still a lot of work to be continued, but, the next meeting is, tentatively scheduled for December 11th at the moment. We are still having monthly school budget meetings. I think the next one is December
We
15th.
kind of talked about that with the budget.
Yep, so, each meeting, we get a little bit more information, enrollment numbers are firmed up. But, I think their budgets are due, the school budgets, they have to pass them in, I think, right before Thanksgiving, I heard, which is this week. So they may have some preliminary numbers to share with us on December 15th. I'm not certain at the moment, but.
December 1st is the finance committee for the school meeting, correct? I watched the school committee meeting
I don't know.
from November 8th.
Oh, you mean the finance subcommittee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant our finance.
No,
committee.
no.
I was very
No.
confused.
No, the North Middlesex.
Okay, let me see. So we actually only have 13 minutes to get through everything, so.
Okay,
Let's see.
it isn't that much.
Animal inspector, I think I mentioned I did receive one application. I really haven't had the bandwidth to dive into it.
I thought that was a month ago.
It was, but, with everything going on, I haven't had time to take a look at it. I will, put it on a list of things to do. I'll reach out to the candidate and, see if they, are a good fit for this position. Comcast contract renewal, I actually had a, phone call with Bill Solomon and Dave Funioli yesterday. I think we're kind of in agreement with what we are going to ask Comcast for in terms of how much per subscriber, we're looking to receive from Comcast. I don't want to reveal the number because that's still an ongoing, negotiation at the moment, but I think we're in the final stretches, and, I think I told Bill Solomon his marching orders were to have it ready for the next select board meeting on December,
Second.
well, no, I said the 9th, but it turns out it might be the 8th. So, but I told him, the select board might be amenable to on a cycle meeting just to get the contract, ratified, and signed off on. Because we are technically, out of contract at the moment, but
I think, because I think he told us the middle of October, because our contract ended the end of October.
Mhm.
We would have something by the middle of November.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be in December.
so, but I think we are now marching towards the finish line, so he is going to go back to Comcast with sort of what we discussed yesterday. So, hoping to have, a contract for the select board on December 8th. Facebook page, I think we still need to get a policy from town council on, I think, so the social media policy before we can really.
I don't understand that.
I don't either. I don't see why we
It's a
can't
Facebook
just,
page, we need access to it and put up announcements.
and no
No,
comments.
there's no
just
comment.
The same announcements that are on the webpage.
Right.
Right, it'll get more views on Facebook than it will on the Townsend website.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I just thought that, that policy had to be in place before we start.
No, we talked about that before too. It's, the last meeting, we said, it's not for comment. There's no social policy involved. The other pages exist for fire, for police, for whatever, and they actually have comments, but ours won't allow comments.
I will, I'll look into how we can get that page, in our.
Is it,
Har-
was it,
Harrison
is it
has
recommended, it's recommended by council that we have a social media policy before we use it? Was that the question?
But not if you
Well, I
don't
don't-
comment.
I don't know. That's what I'm,
I thought that was my understanding, but I will double check with.
I don't think there's any rule on that.
I'll look into that and, we'll try to get it up and running, as soon as possible.
I've been looking through a lot of old stuff and it said that the social media, the Facebook page was done and a social media policy would be written, and that was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So I think we can just get a hold of the Facebook page, wherever that is, become the owners, and just post.
Okay.
Harrison put it up, so he has all the information on getting it.
Yeah,
He was
so
not
it
town
can-
clerk when he put it up.
Right. He
So,
was our webmaster.
When I resurrected the issue with him, because, you know, he briefly mentioned to me a while ago, and, you know, it really wasn't on my radar, so I didn't, you know, pay too much attention to it, but we need to basically set up, some sort of account that then
authenticates.
would then, be tied to that page, so we would need to set up an account, and I need to.
And it has to be it can't be like, because you're gonna need a phone, so whose phone, yada, 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 yada. Because authentication codes have to go to a phone or an email
Yeah.
address.
So that's what I need to.
Well, Sabrina, I mean, it can be done in select board office.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, yeah,
Yeah.
so I just need to, you know, figure out, you know, what email address it would be tied to and things like that, so, I'll work on it and
We don't want to tie to select board.
Okay,
because
so
we're just gonna
December
get a
8th.
zillion.
No,
December
no.
8th on this.
But that's-
one?
I'm at the
I
office.
think so, yeah.
Right, okay.
Hmm?
Okay, all right, we're now into, reports from board liaisons, we have 8 minutes.
So Library Council on Aging, Festival of Trees is up at the library, and the holiday fair is next Saturday. It was put on by Friends of the Library in conjunction with the seniors. So everybody should go, have fun, buy your Christmas presents, holiday presents, whatever you choose. It's usually very busy, there's food.
This
and-
comes.
Yeah, it's a good fair.
No, it's Saturday sorry. I had it written.
Sixth?
Next week?
Sixth?
Yep, it's the 6th. And all the information's on the website. It's a great fair. There's food, and there's even like a room where kids can make their own Christmas presents that the parents can't go into, so
Oh, cute.
it's great. Everybody should go. So that was that, and we already talked about North Middlesex, so you're there.
The only thing I have is I want to have a spot on the December 8th agenda to report on the CR committee. So under liaison reports. So December 8th, that's mine.
The December 8th, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Or second December meeting.
okay. And I think you talked about the school district stuff already?
Yep.
Unless there's anything.
Nope, that was just, I mentioned the event, and yeah, everybody, it was a good event, and there was lots of testimony from other school districts and representatives and their state senators, and lots of questions from the crowd that actually were very informative too, so.
I would have gone, but I had a meeting.
I wasn't there, but I watched it out.
Yeah, I have the link.
6.3.
Do you have any announcements? Would you like to read the vacancies?
Sure. So the following committees and
You
boards
were gonna have a special one though.
have vacancies: the Agricultural Commission, Board of Water Commissioners, Capital Planning Committee, Commission on Disability. The Commission on Disability, 2 vacancies for disabled individuals and 1 vacancy for not disabled individual. And the caveat is one of the positions has to be a town official. So that's kind of where that stands.
Official being any elected official?
Town official, town employee.
Who,
I would have to get clarification on that. Not
okay.
sure.
Cindy, can I ask you a question?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just, the state recommends finding disabled slots before non-disabled slots, so. That was that. Community Preservation Committee, Conservation Commission, Energy Committee, Historic District Commission, Housing Authority Representative, Housing Authority Vacancy, Kids Country Playground Committee, Recycling Committee, Town Properties Committee, West Townsend Reading Room, Zoning Board of Appeals vacancy for a full member, 2, and then an associate member.
Okay, and on the, Town Properties Committee, I know that those are, two positions that are not aligned with a board or per the charter. They're 2 open seats. So those are the volunteer positions that are currently available, and we look forward to people filling out the new form.
Did you put capital planning on there?
Capital Planning Committee vacancy is on here.
Good.
She did say it too.
All right, good. Because we also have to appoint someone to capital planning sometime in December.
Okay, well, it's on the list of opportunities for community members to serve. Our next meeting is December 2nd. And are we starting earlier?
It would be good to know now.
Right, I'm asking a question.
Let me look at the agenda, see how packed it is. So just as a reminder, there is a public hearing for the tax classification.
At 6:10?
6:10,
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Let me see here. You will have, let's see, multiple readings, I think.
And then we also get a budget memo, right?
Yes. I think,
I'm
yeah,
good with that if you.
starting at 5 probably wouldn't be the worst idea, given
So I think there's another executive on that one too.
2.
Okay, so 5 PM on the 2nd.
5 PM on the 2nd.
All right, and the meeting after that.
I thought it was the 9th. Board of Health wants it on the 8th.
So can
'Cause
we
we're
move
joint
our
with them.
meeting to the 8th as well?
It's up to you.
It's fine with me.
I would rather do that
The
than
2
do
nights
2 nights in a row.
Mhm.
All right, so select board on Monday, the 8th.
Mhm.
And do we have a time for the meeting with them? Is it like 6 PM or something, 6:10?
Did Carla give you a time?
well, looking at their agenda, they do start at 6. They don't have a ton on it, and so I think they can, yeah, they don't have a specific time for us.
Now, do we have a room to meet in that day?
Right now, it's advertised as, downstairs in room 2.
Yes, but
For
for our
them.
meeting, is there a planning board meeting in here on December 2nd? Do we know?
You mean December
You
8th?
mean the 8th?
The 8th, December 8th.
I didn't see it posted.
Well, that's kind of far out. I don't know, so the 8th would be the second Monday? When
Yeah.
is planning meet?
I
They
don't
meet
remember.
on Mondays. It used to be the second
So it's
and
first and
fourth.
third.
Is it first and third?
Then
We
that
were
would-
first and
That
third.
would be first and third, otherwise that's second and third and fourth.
I have no idea when they're meeting.
Let me just see if, for some reason, it might be, already showing up. Planning board.
I saw something in SharePoint for Beth. Can you check that from her regarding
Oh, their
a
next,
hearing or something?
so according to their last agenda, they are meeting on the 8th.
Then they're gonna use this room.
Is there only 2 rooms that we can use instead?
So can we meet prior? If we met at 4 or something like that?
Oh, yeah, you can meet earlier.
Yeah, if we
At
met
3.
earlier
3
and
or 4.
ended with the Board of Health, then we wouldn't need this room at all.
Right,
Other than, we couldn't meet, we wouldn't need it later in the evening.
yeah.
If we could do like even a 3:30, if the agenda is that huge, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, the 8th,
We can decide
That's-
that next week, but
Okay.
I'm good with going with 3 or 4,
Yeah,
getting
I
all the
am too.
business done, and then you wanna
We'll go
physically
downstairs.
go.
Go downstairs, meet with them, and then
Yep.
adjourn with them and adjourn our meeting at that point.
Yep.
And we would need to get TCAN to, be able to, host for us for that. So up here until the end of, we could even adjourn our meeting up here and then go down there,
Yeah.
reopen a meeting
Reopen a
at
joint.
joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That
think-
might be the way to do it.
I think so too, yep.
Can I jump in quickly, folks?
Yes,
Sure.
Dave?
You're discussing the 8th,
Yes.
okay? You're gonna have, I'll have to sit down with you guys and we'll have to figure something out because you've got every room already spoken for and you've got 3 meetings all happening pretty much at the same time. And now you're talking about adding a meeting in front of everything that you'll probably only be able to have a half an hour worth of time before you start running into the other 3 meetings that are already booked.
What are the 3 meetings and what are the times?
You've got, hang on, let me get in there. 6 PM Board of Health, you knew that. 6
Yep.
PM Select Board. 6:30, you've got the Planning Board.
Right.
So
What do
we'll
you-
just go early.
What do you have before 6 o'clock
Well, hang on,
available?
let me get in there.
You want me, I don't know, we'll be right with you.
Yeah, I'm texting them now.
Nothing before 6 PM. Board of Health at 6 PM,
That's
Select
when
Board.
we'll meet.
Okay, then we're
Select
good.
Board currently at 6 PM, Planning Board 6:30, Water Department at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's all already booked, so
Okay.
So, Dave, can you put us in for 4 PM? Do you want 3:30?
3:30.
Just to be safe.
Put us in for
3:30.
3:30 in chambers.
okay.
We'll be out of here by 6.
Well, that's, well, 6 o'clock, yes. That way you'll be able to start the planning board meeting.
Yes,
Okay.
And we'll go down.
and we'll go down to, we have a joint with Board of Health.
Yes, your joint with Board of Health would be sometime after 6 and however long you are downstairs.
Right. Okay, we good?
That's fine with me, as long as you're aware of what times you're dealing with, so.
Yes.
On the
We're
8th at 3 o'clock in Selectmen's Chambers.
Okay. We can start after, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be right at 3.
Right,
But
As long as the
book us
agenda.
the room at 3. We'll, we'll know more once the, agenda is posted.
Well, just make a note, let me know as soon as you can, because I'm gonna have to shuffle some stuff here.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you, Dave.
thanks,
thank
Dave.
you. All right, we are now, good with meetings. 6.5, Valerie?
Valerie Goodrich, move that we review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Is there a second?
Veronica Cal second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. 7.1, 5:30 executive session. I, Laura Schifrin, move to enter into executive session at 5:36 PM and adjourn from executive session pursuant to open meeting law, chapter 30, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, namely RFS Corp. versus Town of Townsend, Middlesex Superior Court docket number 2581CV02381, where an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the litigation position of the board, and the chair so declares. I, Chair of the Select Board, Laura Schifrin, so declare. Do I have a second?
Second, Veronica Cal second. Are we adjourning from executive
We are,
session?
that is what this motion is.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I stated that. And so for second, roll call vote.
Veronica Cal aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
The recording has stopped.
Okay, I got a break.
Okay, let me get them out of here. So thanks everybody for sticking around. Good crowd. Just watching the select board meeting. A lot of interesting stuff. I didn't keep notes so that I could talk to you later. I should have, I guess. But oh well, we'll do my best here. So they're going into executive session on the lawsuit. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. You know, that would be interesting. And I'll have no way of knowing how long they're in there because they're adjourning from the executive session. And I am not going down to town hall to watch them from outside. So we'll have to wait and see on what kind of things get filed. Something will get filed probably after Thanksgiving for us to know what happened tonight in this meeting. I'm assuming town council is waiting. I should have watched on the Zoom. I'm gonna have to rewind this myself later to see what they said, but so I don't know. I'm just gonna remove this so it's not in my way. Okay. About some of the things that were talked about in the meeting, I discussed a little bit about before I went through their agenda a little bit before we started. As I predicted, well, I didn't predict this actually. The DPW study, Nelson had changed his tune last meeting and said, geez, I'm against this. This isn't not going to fly. He's against it going to the doing a DPW department and with somebody leading that and stuff. And I said at the beginning of this video that I agree with him that this is not a good time. And my reasons are it's too costly, and it would be costly, as well as we're awfully small to begin with. And I don't think it's definitely not going to save us any money. And Nelson agreed with me on this. Although we didn't agree together, he did it. We both agree on the same topic. And I think that he was being calmer about it and not trying to throw it in their face that, no, this is going to cost us at least another $100,000 a year in order to have this crazy thing that we don't need. And we can already do job sharing if there's something to do. The department heads can do that on their own. They don't need to have a DPW department. Nelson can do that with them, and he's skilled enough to do it. That's all I have to say. But the board of selectmen were really pushing, or at least Veronica was, that we want this DPW. Why can't we have it? And they're in their mind that they're going to somehow save money because of the increase in job sharing. They want some of the cemetery folks to work in the winter. We have summer hires for the cemetery, and to have them work in the highway department over the winter to plow snow. And, have the department heads even been conferred on this? And what do they think? And have full-time employees instead of 2 part-time employees. If you've ever worked in business, 2 part-time employees are cheaper than 1 full-time, depending on what you're doing. And these 2 jobs are not the same. Some of the people that are working the cemetery doing landscaping or digging graves or maintaining graves and the whole process might not be licensable. They may not be eligible for a license to operate the equipment. And they might not, they might want nothing to do with that. And so there's a job discrepancy here. Plus then you have a full-time employee, you got to pay benefits. I could go on and on. It's like, I don't know. I haven't looked at that DBW study lately. I should look it up and see if these are the same things that I'm thinking of. But it may be a good idea in the future. I know Pepperell's got a DPW department, and some of the towns do, but they're bigger than us. Their departments are bigger than us, and we've cut so much back to save money over more than a decade that we can't do something like that without increasing costs and bringing us back to a level of where we have more employees to begin with, to start working these great plans. So this is, to me, a dumb move. That you want to keep studying it, but everybody spend a little time on it off the clock, so to speak, not in a meeting. Discuss it on your own time, or not violating the open meeting law. I mean, study it on your own time and come back together and say, wait, no, and Nelson can put some of the data on SharePoint so that the select board can read it and then discuss it when they come together. But tonight was a waste, unfortunately, and I think the select board acted confused, and they shouldn't have been. Then we get to Facebook. Nelson is the block on this. He's trying to avoid getting a Facebook page up. And he's, I think, over nervous. And I think Laura Schifrin is under nervous. but and Harrison, I don't think Harrison he wants nothing to do with it. But he's the owner right now of the Facebook page because he established it. It has not been transferred over to the town. There has to be somebody identifiable to turn it over to, this is not impossible. Facebook can be challenging sometimes to set up these accounts for government things. And if you're doing something other than the normal, I want to start a Facebook page, it's easier as an individual. I'm just going to start a Facebook page, or I'm going to sign up for an account on Facebook. Well, they have to do it as a town, and right now the Townsend page is under Harrison. I don't even know what his status is on that, but he's got it. I think he wants to give it up, and he wants nothing to do with managing this page, which he shouldn't. It should belong in the select board office. And I think the select board wants this to get going, and they've already decided, which I recommended, just nobody's commenting. You're posting just announcements. And I think they all need to have a lesson, and both Sabrina and Nelson, one of them has got to manage this page, and I don't know who it should be, but it needs to be probably Sabrina, most likely, with supervision from Nelson as her boss. That's where this needs to fall in my book. That's what I'd be saying if I was in that room. But they need to learn about the restrictions. And all this information is available. In fact, I had sent the select board a social media document that was from like a vendor. Not that I wanted them to sign up for a vendor, but it was a great publication that gave guidance to communities that wanted to start a social media presence. And it has all kinds of good advice. Everybody needs to read that front to back and then have it on their desk as they're putting this together. all of them, everybody that was in that room. And then, but then they have to understand the laws on public records and open meeting law. Again, which I think we can all agree they have issues with both of those laws, but the only issue with having the town getting a Facebook page presence is the commenting. They can't take anything down, including the postings, or they need to check with somebody at the state. They can call Pepperell and say, what do you do? How do you manage your... Nelson can call the town administrator over at Pepperell and find out who's managing their page, and then speak to them about what have they got as far as managing the public records aspect. Because there may be a separate rule that I'm not sure about. The postings, it may fall under just posting. I don't want to go deep down that rabbit hole, but there may be, because it's not like we're having conversations about things happening. It's posting. So on the website, we have everything posted. When there's your tax bills due, the select board's meeting tonight, the planning board's meeting next week, happy Thanksgiving. Well, you have to be careful with holidays. Because we've got the First Amendment and the separation of church and state. So we have religious holidays like Christmas, and then you have the Jewish holidays and this holiday and the Muslim holiday. You don't want to. They need to be careful with holidays, other than the ones that are totally federal, that are regarded as just veterans and Independence Day. Stay clear of the religious holidays. But anyway, that's just my opinion there. But they just need to look at that stuff. That's easy. That's nothing. That's already, and they can, hey, Pepperell, what are you doing? They've got a good thing going. Theirs has been running for a while. I used to like AIR quite a bit. I haven't looked at theirs lately, but their economic development guy, who was just really active in the community getting things going, they had a really good Facebook page going. I used to like watching it or going there, because they would also put videos on the Facebook page that were part of the community, that were probably on the air version of RTCam. So they would also post some of these things that were appropriate. And but the key on the Facebook page is just have no comments. The community can't comment, because we don't have a lot of adults running around Townsend, and having comments could destroy it. And that's what kept us from having one a decade ago, I can tell you that, is adults. We need adults in the room, and that was just not going to function. There was arguing on even the Board of Selectmen. I'm like, I can't have this. But so it couldn't. We just couldn't move on it. And then the next generation of select board they weren't, I don't think they were adult enough to even they weren't on Facebook already. I don't know if they even are. Oh, I think on and off they are, and so, but I think having a government presence outside of an elected official to run this thing appropriately, it's easy, people. And Nelson wants to keep doing we got to establish a social media policy. You can do them both. You already established the policy blank. You can write it up in 2 minutes. What is going to be on there, announcements that are already on the Townsend website, and no comments. That's it. That's your policy. And then over time, you can sit back and go, okay, what else, how do we want to develop anything else? It's really, I think that the announcements part and the no commenting is simple. It's strict. That's pretty damn strict. And then lighten up on it a little bit, tweak that, not lighten up necessarily, but tweak it so that you can make sure that your ideas you get to put on Facebook are going to remain compliant with all the laws it needs to cover. Piece of cake. What else? What else did they talk about? Let me bring up the agenda and have my memory refreshed. okay, they were reading the alcoholic beverage licensing policy. At the beginning of this video, I said I thought it was about some other thing, and this is huge. It's a very detailed policy. I like it. But it talks about everybody getting, anybody that's getting an alcoholic beverage license, from the convenience stores to bar rooms and restaurants, and and it gave the fee structure. I kind of got shook up a little bit with the fees, because I don't remember what our fees had been, or if they're changing. They could be the same, for all I know. But I was like, wow, that's expensive. But I think it probably, if they went up, it probably didn't go up a whole lot. But okay, but I don't. There was nothing that shook me up at all about the policy. So that was better than I expected. Then they had the second reading of the town council policy, and they're really going to struggle with this, because later on in the meeting, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the policy, I don't think, but they're still tweaking things, and that's going to change yet again. I know it is. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but because they're very clear, especially even right now as I'm speaking, they're in executive session, I believe, with town council to discuss the lawsuit. So yeah, guess what? Our legal fees are going up. Despite everything they're trying, our law firm raised their rates, they changed the structure of billing. So and there's so much going on, and they just can't seem to get a handle on following the law. That's number one. But then, of course, they need a lawyer every time they open their mouth. Let's see what else. Police union, I guess there's things going on there. DPW, talked about that. 5-year preliminary financial forecast. Yep, Nelson seems still to be struggling with that, but he spoke briefly, but that it's going to be having changes to it, which it will, especially since this is the first time he's attempted such a thing in his life. So anyway. Fire EMS regionalization sounds like it's completely out of control. They were, the select board was thinking, maybe they had been talking about the possibility of regionalizing some of the management area and resources, doing a little regional, as opposed to every town suffering their own consequences. And they were thinking that, well, 3 towns make sense, the normal 3 towns, Pepperell, Ashby, Townsend. Well, Nelson has been working with 11 towns. 11! So that threw the select board members into outer space. They weren't quite expecting that. And then what Nelson said is he was starting big, and he knows the people are already dropping off from the 11. So maybe his strategy isn't so bad after all. Definitely, I'm not in favor of even trying to regionalize with 11 people. Holy, you can't get 3 people to agree on anything. Can you imagine what 11 would be like? But, and this isn't going to happen tomorrow. And I don't think it's going to happen for at least a year, but let them play. Because I think there's so much politics involved. There's a lot of politics involved, and I'm not going to discuss some of it here. But some of it does involve Gary Shepherd. And I'm not going to go any farther than, some of you in the know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not just talking about the ethics stuff going on. School budget. I'm going to interject here. Well, I'm still talking about the school budget. School budget was on the agenda, and Valerie, I think, is the only one who watched the school budget forum. She didn't go. She watched a video. I don't know if she watched my video or she watched the Groton Channel's video. The Groton Channel had it up. That's who I was restreaming their video. It's a public stream. They provided it to the other communities. A public access channel. It's fine. So I don't know if she watched my channel to get updated on the school budget. Thank you, Valerie. I'd like to, it's nice to have people watch my videos. Because I got to put my 2 cents in too. So the school budget, the select board, I think Valerie understands. I didn't see Valerie get into this conversation too much. I think she was, well, I don't know. I have to talk to her. I I haven't talked to her, but if I did, I think she's more apt to understand the school's position than the other two members of the Board of Selectmen, that they want to say the schools have to cut, the schools have to cut. And they apparently didn't watch the video. They probably don't want to watch the video because that's not what really came away from that. If you watch the video and listened to the whole thing, not just my video, the forum, you watched from beginning to end everything that was discussed at that school budget forum, you don't understand what the needs of the towns are, the needs of the schools, and what the state isn't going to do, or what the legislature's trying to do, but also the condition of the state budget, especially with the cuts that Trump is making. So, okay, so this is just not realistic. And so I think that this board, if they're not going to watch that forum, we're never going to get out of this hole with the school budget conversation, just a conversation. And that's my 2 cents. They've got to watch that forum video. You can watch mine. If you don't want to give me views, fine, go over to the Groton channel and watch theirs. It's the same video. Mine just has my 2 cents interjected sometimes. I don't think I was overstating anything. I just interjected a few times. So you guys watch it. So, and I know I'm gonna say a dirty word here, but this is where I'd say, you know, I've been starting a list, and I've mentioned it a couple times in some of my videos on this in particular, but other things. I'm starting a list of reasons why I honestly think we need an override next spring. And I'm not trying to sit here and argue with you because I don't have all the facts. But I'm putting things together that shows the budget shortfalls that do not involve excessive spending. The things that, wait a minute, we really are getting too far deep into the hole, that is not the select board's fault. And if we don't do something, it's going to be our fault for not supporting it. The only thing I blame, well, not the only thing, but one of the things I blame the select board for on this issue is not being able to evaluate where we are budget-wise, and the FinCom as well. The FinCom's really, they're just in the weeds. They won't come out of the weeds. You need to look at, all of you need to look at where's the money going, but not line item by line item by line item. You have to look at things from a 30,000 foot view and say, what's going on here? What are the trends, not only in what we need for a budget, but what are the costs of the actual costs of doing everything we're doing? And most of what's happening here is not excessive spending. The select board from time to time, well, they've just blown up the budget because of these pet projects that they wanted to add. But that without consideration, and they're saying, well, we just need an override. No. You need to understand what your idea is doing to the budget and our ability to function. And the school budget absolutely must go up more than the 3% that Veronica spoke about tonight. There's no question about it. We can't do that this year. Just can't. It can't be done without shutting down education altogether. Like, we need to decide, well, who's not going to school this year? Which we can't do that. Anyways, I'm going too far. But the budget overall, and snow and ice. Snow and ice came up. I don't remember if I interjected during their meeting on this issue. I did, but later on, Nelson was talking about free cash because the select board, Veronica, likes to get her hands on free cash so she can spend it on her pet projects. And Nelson said, I really think it's going to almost all go to free cash. I mean, all going to go to snow and ice. And I did a public records request on the snow and ice budget. I did an extensive one for the last 5 years, and probably by the end of December, I'm going to get the November, should be the first month for this season. I want to see what kind of prices things are for the highway, but I won't have that until sometime next month, because I need the full whole month of November to get the data from them, or it won't make any sense. So I'll get that, and then, but I looked at the trend. They didn't increase snow and ice last year at all. From this year, from last year, we used the same budget number because they didn't have any money, which they still don't, and they still don't. So last year, the snow and ice budget was, at the end of the year, was over $350,000 in deficit, which, having a deficit is how snow and ice works. It's the only budget line item that you can do that, because we're in snow country. So, and they overspent free cash before the Board of Selectmen declared winter over a month before it was, and decided to spend free cash on other things, and that ended quickly when we had more ice. They needed more. They needed to put salt down. You can't just. I think we even might have gotten a couple inches of snow in there, but we definitely had black ice, which you're going to have right up until sometimes the end of April. So, but they were over $350,000 in the hole last year, which was an increase of a deficit from the year before. So, just to get through this year, I guarantee you we're going to have a $375,000, maybe a $400,000 deficit. And they don't know what the free cash is going to be. It could be, what if the free cash is $300,000? That means we're short. And we're going to have to go to town meeting and get money from somewhere else in the budget to just to close out snow and ice for this fiscal year, not to mention next fiscal year. So my advice, it's got to be done. This is more than my advice. You got to do this. You cannot level fund snow and ice again. You're going to have to add a minimum of 100,000, maybe 150,000 to the snow, probably at least 150,000 to the snow and ice budget for fiscal year 27, which is what we'll be voting on in May. Because we can't, if you want to have free cash later, you're going to have to budget enough to provide that bank. And so because we've made that decision to go into this kind of deficit, now let me explain this even more. They budgeted like 241,000 and they went to deficit 350,000. That's really bad management. Incredibly bad management. That you know you're going to go into deficit more than you're budgeting. A lot more. I mean, double. That means they spent the 240 plus they spent another 350,000. Come on. This is not functioning. Winter is not going anywhere. You're not going to, we don't want to over budget, because if we budget too much and we don't use it, then we don't have access to that money. Don't worry about it. Your 350,000, you're going to be closer to 400,000 in deficit. Increasing the budget to cover some of that isn't risking, unless all of a sudden we got palm trees on Main Street. Not happening. But this needs to be budgeted. And when I talk to the taxpayer, this is another. It's on my checklist. It's on my little list of things that we need an override for. Not because of excesses by the Board of Selectmen. That's a different conversation I'll have. I guarantee you. But the budget, the actual, what do we need money for? Where's our money dying? Where are we dying? And that's one of the things we're dying on. And it's not budgeting enough is the poor management. But they didn't have enough to budget. So I'm not throwing them out on this. But this is at least 150,000 that needs to go into override on this issue. On top of schools, we need to put more in schools. I know I've not changed sides. They don't want to talk. I know. But we'll have to talk about that on another, whatever. But losing my train of thought. See, I gotta stop watching the chat. But the thing that the Board of Selectmen have not done, the biggest thing they have not done, is they've not been able to explain anything because they don't understand it. And my goal this winter, because it's still only fall on the calendar, even though it's cold. Actually, it's 50 today. Wow. I wish I'd known that. I would have gone outside. But anyway, they're not able to articulate the bigger picture. I mean, Nelson is just trying to figure out how to do a 5-year plan. That should be the first thing out of the gate. Where are we and where are we going? We're going into the shithole. And it's not because, I mean, they've made bad purchases. I agree completely. But we're also not able to keep up with the costs. So my goal started looking at this late summer, like August or so. I said, oh God, we do need an override. But we need to be able to express it. And part of my goal, using my channel, is to work on educating the public on what are some of the things that are a problem that we need to take care of, and that an override, we haven't had an override for a gazillion years. And even then, they've been really tiny to get through certain crises. But we're in a position where we're really in a crisis, and I'm going to take. And I did mention to one of the select board members, I'm not going to say who at this time, and they disagreed. But I'm doing it anyway, because you know I'm doing my thing anyway. But I'm going to be with you guys. Just keep tabs on my channel. Over time, I'm going to start developing that list and sharing it more in a more comprehensive manner that makes sense, so that I can try to explain to you what an override means and why we need it, and some of the things that have happened. And there are some things that I want to talk about in a future video about what the select board has done. And one of it is our long-term debt has exploded. And part of that, I'm going to do another video on that. Actually, I was going to do another video on that 8 months ago. But I'm going to put this together and say, we got a problem, but we need to address that. And depending on how the rest of my evaluation of our financial condition comes through, I'm not sure. I have to look at this closer. But the budget, my override conversation may include dealing with that debt, because we never should have added all the debt that we have, but now that we have it, we owe it. So I need to evaluate what's going on there better than I have. But they're not looking at it. They're just borrowing the money and looking the other way and going on to, let's spend more money over here. So I want to say, I want to bring that money back onto the table, so that they all look at it and we can say this isn't, we're heading towards our credit rating going down. So, but that's another thing. So what else was on the agenda? I've spent too much time on that. So, I'm not seeing anything. Positions, there's still, I guess there's going to be meetings for the school budget, actually. They went over some vacancies, nothing. So, oh yeah, and then the animal inspector. I guess at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that that they had on the agenda was this animal inspector, but there's no name for appointment. So it's like, what are they going to discuss here? Well, the thing is, they had an applicant, but Nelson never called it. There's an applicant that's been hanging out for a month. No wonder we can't hire people. He didn't call them or talk to them or evaluate whether this person is qualified and talk to them about what we're willing to pay, nothing. So he looked pretty dumb. And the select board, I don't think, was too happy about that, but they didn't take his head off. They just said, oh my goodness. So I don't know. So that was pretty much most of what they discussed. They had a lot more on their agenda than I expected to see. I guess they, cleaning house, because this meeting was not on their plan a week ago. And I'm sure they added it in order to handle this legal issue that they're dealing with. They've had a meeting scheduled for December 2nd, and now they also have a meeting for the 8th. They're still on the 2nd as far as I know. I didn't hear them say they're canceling that, because they have a public hearing scheduled on the 2nd. They haven't got their agenda up yet, but they've got the public hearing scheduled, which is to discuss the tax rate. It's nothing, everybody doesn't need to pile into the select board office to understand this. It's nothing. It's really nothing. Try not to even pay attention. Really, Wizard of Oz, don't pay attention to this. Anyway, that's true. There's nothing to pay attention to. It really isn't. So anyways, I don't know that I have anything else. Hi, John. Are you just joining us? I don't know who's been here all the, see, I can't tell. I wish I could tell, as a YouTuber, we can't tell who is in the room unless you leave a comment. So I know that I have a number of people in the room, but I don't know who's been here the whole time. And the number keeps changing. Go up, down, people come and go. They jump in here and see that, oh, it's just a select board meeting, I'm out of here. And I don't know. I'll have to look at the total viewers. I think I had not too bad. People were coming in here, so that's nice. And the time of night is probably part of it. But anyway, I think going to go back and rewatch it. Oh, okay. That's fine. Watch it a couple times. Give me more views. Okay. So again, let me thank everybody for watching this live stream. And geez, we've been here going on. We're past 2.5 hours. We're heading towards 3 hours. So thanks everybody for joining in. If you haven't already, hit the like button. I can't see the like button while I'm filming. I can't, I don't have it running on another device, so I don't know. So, but if you've come in going, hit the like button on your way in and out. Make sure make sure it's lit, that I get a like in there. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. I really appreciate everybody coming in watching my videos. Get those algorithms going so we get more people watching my videos. And since now I'm doing mostly live streams now, since I figured out how to live stream Zoom, it took me 1.5 years. And I thought it was more complicated. And it's easy. I can't believe how easy it is. I feel silly. But I'm going to be doing this more and more often. And I'm sure that the town is not excited about it. Well, townspeople are. But our public access channel doesn't live stream. And I've been telling them, why don't you live stream to YouTube? What is the problem here? Oh, all this stuff. And it's like, okay. So now that I'm the only one live streaming the town meetings. Okay, so now that I'm doing it, I know they're going to accelerate their plan. They're going to figure out how to do it. Because they don't like, things keep happening. And I swear that they're competing with me sometimes. Because I get more views per meeting. They don't get shit. And they have a YouTube channel, but they don't do any live streaming. And now that I'm live streaming the town meetings, they're now they got real competition. Why should we watch yours on replay when we can watch Cindy live? And Cindy sometimes will interject her opinion. Although it's hard. I can't do it so much because of Zoom, you can't pause. Like when some of the law tubers are doing videos, they're doing live streaming for court stuff. They're usually on a news channel. I know, well, Melanie Little was live streaming Kelsey Fitzsimmons' hearing today, and just as an example, she live streams everything. And she was using NBC 10's footage, so she was able to pause that because it's not Zoom. Zoom you can't pause. It's live. It's live or nothing. So, and that's my dilemma with showing videos of town meetings, because I can't pause them. So I can't talk as much. When I used to do a replay video of their previous meeting, then I could pause and just, or even not even show most of it. But now I'm doing live stream, so you get my dialogue after, and everybody's leaving. Okay, bye. But all right, I'm gonna go then because everybody's leaving. Nobody wants to hear me talk, and it's been almost 3 hours. Oh, and I'm probably gonna come back after I get off here. There's another meeting at 6:30, and I can guarantee they're gonna run late. I mean, it's not gonna start on time. I'm pretty sure because Lori Schifrin's going to be in that meeting as well. It's the volunteer board, boring as hell, but I'm gonna probably just live stream it just cause. If they start it, but I don't know what time. I think I'm just gonna kind of come on to the scene. I'm not scheduling it, so you won't get a notification, but I'm going to probably just go live when they do because I don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna try to text to Harrison and see if he can keep me up to date. Lori was insistent, apparently, that she was going to be able to do it at 6:30. I don't believe it. I think there's too many legal issues with that lawsuit. So I'm going to get out of here so that I can start getting ready so that I can maybe do this other meeting. If I don't do it, forgive me. That means they might not have had it. We'll see how it goes. So thanks everybody again, thank you for being here. And I'm gonna say good night on this one video. And if I see you in 15 minutes on another video, we will. But take care, everybody. If I don't do another video, happy Thanksgiving. Got my little turkey here. We'll see. I probably will do another one. There's a lot of things happening in Townsend. I'm going to give you the latest update on open meeting law and public records problems. There's a lot coming. I'll probably do live streams on T-Day too, if you're not a big dinner guy person. Okay, I got to go now. Bye.